So before we move forward and hear of all the great advances, let's take just a quick look back at where we've been. And as George said, this is our eighth symposium, and you can see here the illustrious list of speakers that we've had as keynotes and special lecturers during the years. I think not one single person on this list needs an introduction. And we're equally privileged this year to have as a special lecturer Dr. Kenji Sunagawa, who we'll hear about later this afternoon. Also, looking back, ACURE has really fostered and served as a place for people to interact and develop very interesting concepts for clinical trials. And these are 6 trials that really have resulted directly from support from Abiomed, but also from the intellectual interactions that we've had in this meeting. You see a very important the Door to Unload study, which is well underway now. Protect Kidney, the venous HF from precardia that we'll hear about, the IMPACT study, mechanical preload reduction, and bridging patients to recovery with BTR. All of these things really have been generated from discussions and presentations that you all have contributed to over the years. So also every year we just reflect back about where we are with unloading and what is unloading. And this is a definition that we've published several years ago in a review article. We offered up this kind of definition that unloading is the reduction of total mechanical power expenditure of the ventricle, which correlates with the reductions of mechanical oxygen consumption and hemodynamic forces that lead to ventricular unloading. And here we see the primary effects of unloading on the ventricular pressure volume diagram. You see here the reduction of preload. You see the reduction of the stroke work and the pressure volume area. And on the MVO2 PVA relationship, you see here that that reduction in load results in a reduction in oxygen consumption, which is really critical for especially when we're talking about AMI and shock and recovery. But it's not only about hemodynamics, because there are potential added benefits of unloading, especially in cardiogenic shock. When you support the heart with a ventricular assist device, you have the possibility to also reduce potentially toxic drugs that we use, inotropes and pressors. And when you withdraw these drugs in the presence of a hemodynamic support device, you can see that you can even further reduce the oxygen consumption of the myocardium substantially, sometimes even more benefits that you can get from the reduction of the reduction of the inotropes and pressors than from the mechanical unloading itself. So these are really very important secondary benefits. And in fact, these two principles are really fundamental to the NCSI protocol for cardiogenic shock that Bill O'Neill has really pioneered, which captures both of these concepts, unload early and also eliminate inotropes and pressors. But also, over the last decade, we've also learned a lot from work such as from Naveen Kapoor and others here about the molecular effects of unloading. And these are yet additional induction of cardioprotective mechanisms that we see that can also contribute to myocardial preservation, reduction of infarct size, and also contribute very importantly to myocardial recovery. Now, over the last 10 years, and this is a slide that Jerry graciously put together, we see here that there is if you look in the literature and do searches for under the ventricular unloading, acute ventricular unloading, mechanical unloading, cardiac, you could see that since the onset of ACURE, which is in 2016, there's been a real surge in the number of publications. Now, I don't know if that's a direct result of this meeting per se, but for sure, people in this room have contributed very importantly to this surge in the medical literature. And also, the concept of hemodynamic unloading has been expanded beyond just the heart. We see here that there's a lot of discussion, and we'll hear today about unloading the kidney, the lung, the liver, and also the bowel. What are the benefits of unloading these other organs? And this is just a reminder of a classic paper from Wilfred Mullins and Wilson Tang from Cleveland Clinic, showing that when you unload the kidney by reducing the CVP, you have a marked improvement in renal function. And this is really forming the cornerstone of a lot of therapies that are currently under development now for acute decompensated heart failure. So ACURE 2023, we have a very, very packed agenda. Hopefully, as George said, if everyone stays on time, we'll get through this agenda. We have session 1 is advances in the science of cardiac unloading and myocardial recovery. Then we're going to have a debate about unloading and venting, VA ECMO versus LAVA, a very important topic. Session 2 will be the Picha-Kucha that we spoke about, which can mechanical preload reduction benefit patients. Here we're talking about not only the heart, but also the kidney. Then clinical evidence and strategies for cardiac unloading and recovery. Then a second debate about unloading as a bridge to transplant, or do we target recovery, which is really the more important in the modern era. And finally, we'll have innovations in the space, abstracts from selected talks. And finally, just as another overview, again, we're going to have a special lecture from Dr. Kenji Sunagawa that he'll talk about from past insights to future breakthroughs, digital twins, and empowering PVR, circulatory equilibrium, and MCS. We've got 15 original talks. We've got 2 debates that I've mentioned, the Picha-Kucha, and dozens of original posters that we encourage you all to visit during the breaks and during the poster sessions. So with that as an overview now, looking backwards, I think it's time now that we can look to the future. Thank you.